I'm Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
We're going for a drive.
You're on the 7th Gen 2024 Mustang GT.
With launch control. Oh! Yeah,
Pretty good.
still pretty decently fast.
Horsepower and torque.
486 horsepower, 418 pound-feet of torque from a 5-liter V8.
New Mustang only comes manual in the V8.
Yes, that's right. You can't get it in the EcoBoost that we drove yesterday.
But you can also get the 10-speed auto in this V8.
Yep, and you can get the drift brake, which we talked about in our EcoBoost review, so definitely watch that video as well for more detail on the drift brake.
Okay, here's my theory of the new 7th Gen Mustang.
Go for it.
It is pretty much the same feeling as the old Mustang, however, a lot pointier, sharper looks that kind of sometimes looks from like a Camaro and then turns into a Mustang when you get to the front.
I slightly disagree with you. I do feel that it is better than the last gen in terms of feel, driving, and a bunch of little things. And yes, the biggest thing would be the looks though.
Okay, so what does feel the same? Power delivery, like, come on.
So this engine has been retweaked, and yes, now we have dual throttle bodies.
And they come in, the air comes in through the nostrils in the grill.
Yes, and the exhaust manifold has been changed, as well as the oil pan. Other than that, I believe it's the same engine as the last generation. So they kind of just massaged it, and they gave you basically like bullet horsepower from the previous generation, slightly kind of like Mach 1 specs, but the Mach 1 of this generation is equivalent to the Dark Horse, which sits above the GT.
And it'll have more handling and stuff and a bit more power.
Yes.
I bet you they just redid it so that the motor will be something that they can work from for the next 14 years, because it's probably going to be around for like a while as the last V8.
Exactly, because the Camaro and Challenger are dead.
The Camaro's only half dead. It lives through this car.
Okay, let's get to how it lives through this car. The rear shoulders on this car.
Yeah, okay, but okay, they look Camaro-y, but they wanted to make the whole Mustang pointier. We talked to the designer, and it's like, we wanted to make it sharper and pointier and like edgier everywhere, and that, it does look cool and it does look Mustang.
Yes, and the GT does look much cooler than the EcoBoost, although the EcoBoost does look really clean and simple, especially in the front end.
Yeah, you get some heat extractors in the hood for the GT, and then you also get slightly different like grille and everything. It's just slightly different shapes, looks more muscly.
Yeah, more muscly. Speaking of muscly, they told us that the intakes, kind of the scoops in the grill, are representative of a bodybuilder lifting weights.
Not the scoops of the grill, the part that goes around and up.
Yes, on the
like
sides.
Around the grill.
Yeah, so it's a bodybuilder lifting weights.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it kind of does look like that once they tell you that.
And then these are my favorite wheels of all the Mustangs of this gen so far. They're like a cool 5-spoke star.
Yeah, I really like these wheels. They look great in person.
And what would be the Continental recommended tire for the new Mustang GT?
The Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02.
All right, yo, how's the handling? How's the power through these, I don't know, somewhere in California roads?
It is great. Now, it is noticeably heavier in the front end compared to the EcoBoost. I kind of liked how nimble the front end felt on that, but this does feel great. We do have the MagneRide dampers, which are optional on this one. And then we also have automatic rev matching, which currently I'm leaving on, although the heel toe position on the pedals is actually really, really good. And we do still have this MT82 from the last generation. I know it's not everybody's favorite. It is not my favorite. Unfortunately, the Tremec only gets carried over into the Dark Horse. Although, I do like this with the shifter style compared to the Challenger that we just had, the 392.
And we have a hard button we can program, a start button, to do your auto rev match on and off.
Having this customizable button is really, really nice. You can set it to launch control and a bunch of things, but having it for rev match is kind of perfect, because now I can just turn it off, heel toe, nail it, and then send it. And this car does pull, like the power is very appropriate.
This feels better than the 392 last call Challenger.
Exactly, because it doesn't have all that extra weight. This does also have a better steering ratio than the previous generation, and it is noticeably different, especially in the EcoBoost with that lighter front end. And then we also have the GT Performance Pack on here, so we have like a Torsen rear diff with a better axle ratio. And overall, I mean, this thing does feel great. You get a bunch of different suspension components and stuff that are upgraded on this package, so like, I like driving this, especially out here.
how much more do you like it than like a last gen GT for driving? 'Cause
For
I feel
driving,
I feel like it's
honestly,
like a little better.
It's a very noticeable difference. It
Like it
has
in turns, but for power, it's very similar. And we don't
Power.
really have that many turns in Toronto.
Yeah.
So like we don't do much turning.
no, but noticeably out here.
Out here, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it is a very nice difference, and I think they did a great job with the chassis on this generation. Like, yes, they said that they had a bunch of hard points and things that they couldn't change, so it's kind of like a generation 6.5 realistically, but the changes are enough to differentiate this for me, I think.
The gap in looks, I think, is the biggest thing that
Yes.
moved it to a new full gen.
What would have been sick is modeling it after the Fox body and doing
Yeah.
a retro Fox body.
So like if 2005 was based off a Fox body instead of the 67 or whatever.
Exactly. So maybe we'll get that with the 8th gen, hopefully, because we do have Fox body gauges in here, which are super sick. And I have a Fox body. Shout out my Fox body on my shirt. And by the way, we do actually sell these shirts, I think, still on our store. So if you do want to buy one of these,
take them off the store. We don't sell shirts. We're not a shirt selling thing. So then this also has cool features like line lock, which we had the Ford guy test out for us. We haven't had a chance to test it out, but if we do, we're going to insert that now. But at the time, he could not get it to roll out of a burnout.
yeah,
which
so it
was weird.
locks you into like a 15-second burnout, and then he couldn't roll through. So in order to turn on line lock, you hold the OK button, and then you press OK to engage. Now it's engaged. If you're doing a burnout, to drive through it, all you do is press OK to cancel. Boom, drive through it. That's how easy it is.
And then this electric handbrake, it is the same one as on the EcoBoost, but unlike the EcoBoost, if you get an automatic without the handbrake, you still get paddles on the steering wheel.
And it took me a little while to wrap my head around exactly what's happening with this. So when you treat it like a normal handbrake and you're parking this car, it's basically the equivalent of an electronic flick up finger brake,
Yeah.
because you could just tap this up. You don't have to like rip it up because it doesn't stay up. And then to
It
put it
goes
down,
down.
you push it down or you drive through it.
Yeah,
like an electronic one.
The weirdest part for me is pushing a handbrake down because
Yes.
that doesn't exist in real life.
So I've wrapped my head around it and I've already gotten used to it, and it is not a point of contention for me. It's totally fine.
Yeah, and we did do a couple they said it was a drift section on the press trip, but it was really just 2 handbrake turns.
Yes, with a
in
little bit
in
of
the 4-cylinder, and it was
power.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely not drifting.
No, it's
And in the marketing, they're like, practice your reverse entries with that e-brake or handbrake. It's like, okay, you're not doing reverse entries.
No.
There's no angle kit on here. You couldn't pull through, even though they got a drift team who like helped set it up. But it's like, yeah,
RTR has fully designed this with Ford. So we had Chelsea Denofa out here.
we
showing us how it's
we
done.
weren't able to like properly do anything with
Yeah,
it.
we couldn't like link turns because that wasn't
Yeah,
how
it
the
was
course
very
was set up.
yeah, no.
But anyways, I think it is time to get you into the driver's seat, although I do really enjoy my time behind the wheel.
Okay, you can use the TheStraightPipes money to buy one on tsp.truecar.com.
Oh, I can?
Yeah, it's got to be an orange though.
I-
Do they have orange new color or no?
Without even driving the Dark Horse, I think I would have to go with the Dark Horse.
Whoa.
Although this is really good, it just has the Tremec transmission.
And if the new Mustang's not up on tsp.truecar.com yet, it will be soon. You kind of just need to wait for dealer inventory to catch up because these videos come out early. All right, let me just take the e-brake off.
Yeah, push it down. You put it back up. Let's show the people how it's done. There you go.
Oh,
Nice
that feels good. All right, a lot of good torque still from really down low in third when I shoot downshift.
Oh yeah.
Get those shift lights.
Sounds pretty good from in here. Let's take a listen to the outside.
And we've got the optional sport exhaust.
So that was full volume in race mode or track mode.
And you'll know it's the louder exhaust because it'll have the double duals instead of the single dual.
Yes. And what about the automatic transmission?
If you have an automatic transmission in this or the EcoBoost and you got the performance exhaust on it, if you have the car started, if you click lock and unlock, it'll rev a bit after it gets the proper temperature remotely. And then if you click it again, it'll go bram, bram, bram.
have remote revving from the key fob.
Remote being a piece of trash in real life.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Ford for knowing their customer base like myself. All I do is rev the balls off my Mustang.
But it doesn't work on a manual even if you're in neutral, which is kind of disappointing, but probably makes sense.
Definitely a safety thing.
Okay.
But I mean, it does sound really good from in here and outside. It's like, it's got that characteristic kind of Mustang rumble. It's still there. It still sounds like a Coyote.
And now that I've spent a bit more time in these twisty roads, like the steering feels much different than previous Mustang. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Much, much different.
Much better.
But the power does feel very similar still.
Because it is basically the same power. So you do get 6 less horsepower without the performance exhaust. So it's not actually coming from those twin intakes.
Found a nice spot for our launch control. Very nice.
Yeah, so you can actually set your launch RPM target. We've got it pretty low at 4,000. I feel
You
like
can set it to 6.
I feel like it's bogging down, and honestly, we should probably set it to 6. That would be my recommendation without even trying it.
And it does have a drag strip mode and timers and stuff, which is sick.
And we have been spending most of our time in the canyons in track mode for the suspension and for everything, and it's actually really good out here. I did kind of experiment with sport mode as well. It softened it up just a little bit, and normal and all that stuff on the public streets back in the city. It's still kind of stiff with the MagneRide. I wish there was more of a difference between normal and track.
Yeah, they're all very firm, but it still feels all right. And yeah, okay, look, when I'm steering with these seats, look, see how my elbows hit the... I don't know if that happens with a lot of other people. It didn't happen with you, right? So I got
my wider frame with my muscles.
I got to tuck my arms in, I think. And that's a weird thing for me about these seats. These are the Recaros.
Yeah, they are very comfortable, very bolstered, which is really nice out here.
Yeah, but I think I'm fine with like the normal seats as well.
And with the normal seats, you also get cooled seats as soon as you get Recaros.
Ventilated.
Yes, they're deleted, and they're also not heated either.
And then you can get some cool colors. Like there's an orange interior you said looked ugly, which to me looks like awesome. Well, I love ugly.
Ember glow, which isn't quite an orange. It's more of like a rust.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of cool interiors that you can get. And there's a bunch of cool paint colors you can get. Like the Grabber Blue looked really good. I think these definitely look better in non-metallic colors because it accentuates the dark grills more.
Right, but then the metallic kind of accentuates the shapes that they, like the hard lines, especially like for the Camaro-esque, especially in this blue color that we have.
And then in the Dark Horse with like the blue colors, it's hard to see all the like the weird lines, like how it looks like it's drawn like the base Camaro, like the line of thing. I like the way the Dark Horses look in lighter colors, like the white ones or whatever.
Yeah, with their bags under the eyes or whatever they
a painted on mask or something.
Yeah, they just look tired.
Yeah, Dark Horse looks sick. Anyways, okay, we got a cool little wing back there too, which reminds me a lot of the Corvette wing.
Oh yeah, it
the
does
C8
actually,
wing.
yeah.
And I've seen some that are black on the red.
And you can do a free wing delete, which I would actually recommend because it looks really nice and sharp without a wing.
But this wing is great. Probably one of the best Mustang wings.
Yeah, it's clean.
Yeah, it's so subtle. And then just like the EcoBoost, really, really awesome taillights. Like I love the taillights on this.
Yeah.
So pointy, so sharp.
It's a great looking car in person.
And then since this one doesn't have the blacked out package, we've got the little chrome things in the headlights, so it always looks like there's headlights on, as opposed to the yellow one we had, which had the blackout package.
Yes, and then there's also a bronze package, which then you get bronze wheels and bronze accents. I think even the pony is bronze.
Yeah, but we don't have that one.
No.
And then more stuff inside, normal floor mats would probably be cooler with a set of TuxMat.
Definitely get a set of TuxMat. Go to TuxMat.com/TheStraightPipes. I'm sure they'll have the new Mustang very soon. Or maybe even the old mats will fit because maybe it hasn't been changed.
It's not going to fit. All right, visor test.
Oh.
3, 2, 1. Full pass.
Just like the EcoBoost.
Cup holders pass too, and just like the EcoBoost, this is the same, pretty much the exact same elbow, armrest, glove box compartment thingy.
As the previous generation as well, because it looks very similar. And then we have a fake carbon fiber shifter surround. We got fake carbon fiber up here. It does look pretty good. The materials on this premium edition seem a little bit better.
And the infotainment is one big panel with 2 screens in it, but you can also get one that looks like 2 different ones. And it's pretty much exactly the same as the EcoBoost, which is cool if you're getting the EcoBoost because you're getting the same stuff that you get in the GT. It's not like you're getting a worse version.
Exactly.
Unreal engine, so it makes everything nice and fluid and smooth, and you can spin stuff around. You can change the colors, change the gauge cluster modes. You can have Fox body gauges. We mentioned a lot in the EcoBoost review, so definitely go watch that for more details.
Yes, and this has all the same drive modes that the EcoBoost also has.
But custom drive modes are very weird. Like, when you try to customize something, you have to pick a base drive mode, and that kind of locks you into the engine and steering and the
suspension
of that mode. And then you can really just customize exhaust, traction, it's not like the most intuitive, but you can change your drive modes from the steering wheel, which is nice. Hard buttons.
Yeah, and then you can also change your rev match in a separate menu, which would have been nice if they tied that to the custom mode, just like Porsche does.
And then this also does have driving assist too, like we got lane centering and like adaptive cruise, so that's pretty cool.
Haven't used it out here.
Nope, not at all. And then we got a little tray for your phone charger, which heats up your phone pretty good. Wireless or wired, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and the Apple CarPlay works great. We always have it up in the top right to click, but I feel like we've missed it a couple times. We've hit it and like had to click it like 3 times to get it to work.
Yeah, so it's just touchscreen things, you know.
And
then our climate is also buried in here. Well, not buried, it's always at the bottom, but it is in the screen.
And what's cool is when they remove the heated and cooled seats, it actually doesn't look like you're missing a button or an option. It's just gone.
Wow, that's what they did.
That's how they get you.
With no hard buttons. And then down here, we do have some hard buttons. We do have one blank button, which is for the auto stop start, which I guess is for the automatic.
Maybe that new engine tuning means they don't have to have an auto start stop button on here to get fuel standards.
Maybe, and then this whole panel just kind of moves back and forth when you press all these buttons.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I like it.
They didn't screw it up.
If you do take turns, I would highly recommend the newer version. Go to tsp.truecar.com. But if you don't take turns, I think you'll have a lot of fun still with the last gen Mustang.
I'll totally agree with that statement.
But can you afford it? I think it's time we
get to the price.
Hit me with it.
The GT starts at $42,495.
American.
And this one is spec'd out to approximately $56,635.
I think that's an okay deal.
Now the crazy part is the Dark Horse still starts at $59,270.
Yo, I would go base Dark Horse over loaded this.
Because with the Dark Horse, you get certain things already built into it. So you get MagnaRide, you get things like that.
And I'm just basing this off my experience with the Mach 1, which was like the only 5-liter Mustang that I actually really liked.
Yeah, I loved the Mach 1. Obviously a GT350 or an R is more preferable just because that engine is so special, but the Mach 1 of the previous generation was fantastic. We called that car perfect or nearly perfect, and this is getting pretty close, so the Dark Horse is probably pretty close to perfect as well.
Except I'm not the fondest of the Dark Horse looks.
Exactly.
Like if it was Dark Horse stuff in EcoBoost with no wings, you know what I mean? I like that clean look.
And I wonder if there's going to be a Shelby of some kind in this generation, like GT350, GT500, GT800, who knows?
GT1000.
Exactly. So let us know what you guys think of the new Mustang. Do you like the looks? Do you wish for more power? What do you want out of this thing? We still got a V8, so just celebrate that.
See you later.